The fish actually spat out a human skull, instantly causing panic among the visitors at the aquarium. Subsequently, 2 people dove into the tank to collect evidence. Not only did they find the skull that the fish had expelled, but they also discovered an entire human skeleton hidden beside some rocks. Through the pelvis, they quickly determined the deceased was between 30 and 34 years old. Multiple dents of varying directions on the brow bone and eye sockets indicated that someone had violently stabbed the victim's face with some kind of thin, pointed object. Based on all the findings, they could confirm the deceased had been murdered. At this point, Haggis determined the time of the incident. He brought back coral skeletons from the aquarium tank. These organisms only produce calcium carbonate crystals at night, indicating that something had died in the tank on Friday night. Between midnight and dawn and 6 a.m., 28 people were in the aquarium during that time period, mostly staff and security guards. The missing person on the list was Jazz, whose skull shape perfectly matched the deceased. Meanwhile, agents found the weapon that had inflicted the facial wounds. They discovered a tiny semicircular ridge in the skull's dents, which matched the needle of a hypodermic syringe. The diameter comparison suggested it was a 14-gauge needle, meaning the victim may have been injected with some kind of drug. Unfortunately, the body had been submerged too long for testing. They found the keeper, but he had never used a 14-gauge needle and even opened the medical drawer for them to inspect. However, he revealed that local elementary school students had conducted a field trip overnight at the aquarium on Friday night. Detectives brought in the teacher who had led the group that night, asking, "With so many of you staying overnight at the aquarium, didn't anyone notice sharks attacking someone?" The teacher explained that after the lights went out, it was pitch black and impossible to see anything. However, each child had been given a camera and they photographed everything, which might provide some clues. Soon they collected all the cameras. In one photograph, they spotted something unusual. After scanning and enlarging, they could make out a person inside, but the body proportions were wrong, definitely not the victim. The timestamp was 2:38 a.m., matching the time of the incident, suggesting this could be the killer. Upon enlargement, they found it was an aquarium staff member. Investigation revealed this person had unexpectedly received a $10,000 check the day after the murder, raising suspicions of a contract killing. However, the employee claimed the money came from a mob boss but couldn't reveal the reason or face retaliation. Detectives could only question the mob boss, who claimed he merely wanted to purchase a filter system but refused to admit to ordering a hit. Just then, they noticed that lionfish spines looked very similar to 14-gauge needles. The female detective now had her answer. She went to the only tank containing lionfish. The female detective observed that the damaged edges matched the fractures in the victim's skull. Lionfish venom can cause a person to fall into a coma, so the real murder weapon was the lionfish. To confirm this, the female detective conducted an experiment. On the night of the incident, Jazz had spotted the most venomous lionfish and wanted to observe it closely from above the water surface. Someone forcefully pushed his head into the tank, causing the skull fractures. The lionfish, defending itself, stung his eye with its venomous spine. After Jazz was rendered unconscious by the toxin, the killer dragged him into a nearby tank, attempting to destroy the evidence. Soon, he was consumed by the fish. The victim Jazz traveled to Brazil for surgery every 6 months. The elementary school teacher had also visited that town this year. Given his salary, a vacation to Brazil seemed rather extravagant. Unable to withstand the pressure, the teacher finally revealed the truth. He was a devoted follower of Jazz's seminars. He had recently been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and Jazz had told him that by facing his fears, all his ailments would miraculously disappear. However, when the teacher arrived in Brazil, he discovered Jazz's lies. Their encounter at the aquarium was purely coincidental. That night, Jazz took him to see the most venomous lionfish, constantly boasting about confronting fears. The teacher's suppressed anger finally exploded, and he pushed Jazz into the tank. Thus, the truth of the case was revealed.